Hey guys, it's Aaron Farmer here with My Sugar-Free Journey. So these daily recaps for the next 28 days are going to take a slightly different form because we've started our 28-day challenge, sugar-free, low-carb, high-fat challenge. People are already getting lots of reports about people enjoying their food and eating healthy and eating clean, and it's exciting to see that. So what these videos are going to be are just me reading the notes for the things that I want to talk about during the challenge, and not answering any of the questions or talking to the people that I usually do on the Facebook Live videos. So if you weren't able to watch the Facebook Live video and you want just something short, just the pertinent information, it's these recap videos that are going to be most helpful for you, I think. So let's get started. Today we're going to talk about why we got to the point where we are just so focused on cholesterol. We think it's awful, we think it's terrible, and how this all came about. So our national obsession with cholesterol and heart disease, supposedly heart-healthy foods, those kind of things, probably began on September 23rd, 1955. This was the day that President Eisenhower had his first heart attack at age 64. His cardiologist, Dr. Paul White, gave a press conference explaining exactly what his condition was and the main causes of heart disease in general. He then gave twice-a-day press conferences for the next 6 weeks, updating the nation on President Eisenhower's condition. And so this was before, 5,000 channels and all that stuff. So if somebody gave a press conference telling us about the health of the president, you watched it. And so the whole nation for 6 weeks got to hear Dr. Paul White talk about heart disease and what causes all of that stuff. So as Eisenhower improved and resumed his duties as Commander-in-Chief, he diligently followed the doctor's advice. He avoided cholesterol as much as he could. He maybe had 1 egg a month. He was having his food cooked in soybean oil or margarine. However, the new diet not only caused his cholesterol to climb, it went from 165 milligrams per deciliter at the time of his heart attack to 259 on his last day of office. So that's almost 100 points that he gained to his cholesterol. He added to his cholesterol by doing all the stuff that the doctors told him to do. It also caused him to gain weight. He went from 172 pounds to 176, and again, this is on that heart-healthy diet, despite the fact that he was skipping meals most days in order to try to fight the weight gain. So, does that sound familiar to you? Have you been following doctor's advice to the letter and done everything you knew how to do to lose weight and get healthy, and it just didn't work? It did for me. I did exactly what my doctors were telling me to do. I was eating those whole grains because those were supposed to be healthier for me. I was eating those low-fat baked potatoes, and putting margarine on everything, and that, over the course of several years, a couple decades actually, that's what caused me to hit 400 pounds. My cholesterol was out of control. I was so unhealthy, and I got unhealthy by doing what my doctors told me to do. And unfortunately, let me stop to say this. I'm not a doctor. You should follow your doctor's advice. I have to say that. I would not ever suggest that anyone not follow the doctor's advice. I'm just telling you from my personal story that I did follow the doctor's advice and got sicker and sicker because of it. So that's why I think the most important thing for all of us to do is get educated about food and what food does to your body, because there's nothing more important for the health of your body than the food that you eat. And unfortunately, I think things are about to get worse for the nation. Things are about to get worse for the nation after Eisenhower, because 2 weeks after Eisenhower leaves office, Time magazine runs a story about the American Heart Association's new low-fat, low-cholesterol dietary recommendations. And for the most part, Americans follow those recommendations. You saw people were buying low-fat sour cream and low-fat cottage cheese and drinking 2% skim milk or 2% or skim milk, whatever. But following those recommendations is what led to the obesity epidemic that we are currently struggling with in our nation. These dietary recommendations were primarily the result of the work of one man, Dr. Ansel Keys, and you'll see me talk about Dr. Keys a lot. He has done more to damage the health of the general populace than perhaps any other person in history. So Dr. Keys was a very influential nutritionist. He, right before World War I, the Army hired him to try to figure out how to get food to their soldiers and have it be fresh for long periods of time and keep their soldiers with the nutrition that they needed to be able to fight the wars that they needed to fight. And he came up with the K ration. So the K in K rations stands for keys. He's the guy who did that. So after World War I and then going into World War II, he was our nation's leading nutritionist because of the work he did with the military. So Dr. Keyes conducted a major survey of the dietary intakes and rates of heart disease of 7 countries that showed a strong link between increased fat intake and heart disease. The only problem was that the study included data from 22 countries, and when you include all the data, there's no clear relationship between fat and heart disease. So he cherry-picked the 7 countries that proved his hypothesis, and the country has suffered for the last 50 years because of it. And unfortunately, the effects of Dr. Key's study has been far-reaching. The demonization of dietary fat is now so ingrained in the medical community that virtually every doctor will repeat the same mantra of staying away from foods high in cholesterol, sticking to low-fat foods, and eating plenty of whole grains. And I believe that by the time we get to the end of this 28-day challenge, you'll understand why this is bad dietary advice and why the key to losing weight is to eat a diet high in fat, low in carbs, and totally absent of sugar. Because I think those are the big culprits, and those are the reasons that you're gaining weight. So I am excited. Here we are, right on the cusp of the challenge. I'm excited to see you guys go through this and see what happens to us all in the next 28 days. I've down about a half a pound just this morning, actually about 4/10 of a pound. But I'm excited to see the weight continue to come off for me and for you guys, and I can't wait to see your stories. That's what's most exciting for me, is to hear your stories about how you're losing weight and getting healthy. So I appreciate you watching. Tune back in tomorrow. We'll do day 2. Bye-bye.